everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to be playing Drunith, the card. I think this is the Green Goblin in paper, but I don't really have a whole lot of time. I just got back from Atlanta. We drove back the night that the event ended, which was putting me home at 6 in the morning. So I'm pretty exhausted. So my voice is a little bit off as well because I talked for, I don't know, 8 hours a day. But we're playing this card basically if we play a creature whose mana matches its power, it puts a counter on here and it makes a copy and it makes it non-legendary. So the idea is to play this Offspring Pole Patch so we get 4 creatures because it copies the Offspring part, and then puts a counter here so we end up with 5, and then maybe go into the Genomorph or maybe a Beast Binder, kind of softer plays there. But if we can then go into our big top and win, that means it's going to put a counter on 5 creatures, which is very, very wide, very, very quickly. With all that said, we're just going to go ahead and dive into the games. There's a very long outro where I kind of break down how I feel about this deck, so if you're interested in that, I mean, it's pretty long. It's like 8 minutes, so there's that. But other than that, let's just go ahead and game. Probably end up having to shock this land in regardless based on what this hand is, but we can always kind of wait. We have 2 decent lands that play out our hand pretty well, so don't necessarily have to commit to shocking, I don't think. Alright, we got Reanimator. We'll find a second breeding pool kind of says that we have to probably shock in. Here? Yeah. The Reanimator's coming out pretty well so far. Yeah, alright, my bad. Like, I wish it was just that easy most of the time when I play it, but hopefully when I play it later it is. They put Overlord and Arden in there. A Surveil land, Overlord, Fear Missing Out, Arden. Sure. Yep. Correct. Sure, man. Let's just have pure gas. I don't know. Like, what do I even do? Dude. Will they get punished at all? I have no idea. Like, it doesn't really matter what I do. This has got to come in, and then obviously we got to attack. It's a little short of Delirium. I mean, I wish I had to work for it a little bit. Just play land and reanimate it. Yeah, come on. You got it. You already had every single piece of your deck. No? Oh, at least they didn't have something. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at this. That's so good. They have 1 red mana available. So it should be here for sure. I don't really want to. Yeah, so I want to go here. I'm such an idiot, bro. So if that's the case, I think I want to change how I'm playing this. It's just like, okay, I'm not opposed to this plan either, to be honest. I don't really need you now. That worth trying? No, they're gonna be so large, it won't matter. We put the counter here, and now we go up, and now here we are. Which, if I would have done this, I wouldn't have leveled here, I guess. But I would have done a map, but that would have made this. Like, technically, it wouldn't have been like that crazy, but we'll see. We do have to win here, which Fear isn't turned on because they've only hit creatures, which is typically the way they do it. Dogavoth, bring back Arden. I weirdly have a big enough blocker for about anything they bring back other than summon, which is definitely what they could bring back. They have a I don't know. It's actually kind of a tough bring back here. They can bring back Overlord because of the amount of life it gains. Obviously, they bring back Arden. I'm just talking about what else they bring back. That has to be just, like, incredibly good. They have no mana, so, like, can only really target me. They gain and they attack. Sure. No trample, but I think we can get pretty high up there. So let's not make that mistake again. Let's play this. We're gonna activate here. Just want any type of permanent there. Here and then 19. So they have to double block, right? This will lose menace. They won't have an Arden anymore, and I'll have 2 blockers back. Yes. Because they are forced to double block, so they have to have exactly reanimate spell for Arden to get it done. They definitely could. Like, that's not out of the realm. Or another Overlord in their hand, I guess. Because it is an ETB and attack, so we'll see. Right now I'm going to 1. Alright, cool, we get there. Unfortunately on that turn 4, when they had about everything else go right, they just had the creature in hand, which is one of the reasons we go to Superior Spider-Man, right? Because I argue playing the mana is a little bit better than this, but I think his deck's still solid. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, we saw how bad it could have been, but fortunately for us, we got out of it. Our hand is very expensive, so it doesn't feel like we can keep this. We have 2 mana and only 1 card in our hand is castable. So, I know we get 3 draws to find another one, but kind of need 2 for this to work because also legendary. Well, maul. Yeah, it's like way better. So, we'll get rid of a landware else, I guess. We're trying to bypass that. Well, I guess maybe we could have kept because then we could have maybe. We're gonna shock this in. Because most likely with this, we're gonna have to do all that nonsense anyway. But with this in hand, maybe we're supposed to keep the landware elves and maybe find another one of these, because obviously this isn't guaranteed to live. If I found another 1-drop, I might go. I say I might go here, but obviously to me, it seems like Sentinel is the best play. One to play, this hand would have been quite nuts. It turned out pretty well. If we're only 1 draw behind, we would just be drawing this. There's 3 for our opponent. Most likely a counter spell coming up. So, this card can win the game on its own, and we clearly have the land drops for it. So, see. I will gladly pay 1 life here. I do not want to use my landware elves. Seems like counterspell is a pretty obvious card being laid up here, so running this out, tapping out fully just seems not great. Day of Judgment is typically the removal spell we see in spots like this. This is obviously the target right now, so Paul Patch is pretty sweet. We have a map, so now we can play land, go for this, and maybe double pump, but we'll see. I do think this is like Day of Judgment a bull, so I don't even think I want to give up any cards. Like playing this is obviously great. Maybe I should just because of how good these 2 are together. Yeah, sure. Like force them to counter. If they have a consult, they won't get to do that this turn, or that resolves. Might just get hit with a get lost or something. That's sure. At least then they still don't get to like consult, right? So I think I care more about the hit here. Yeah, and there's a pause, so they might just have a second get lost. They do. Okay. We'll hit for 2. Double get lost kind of implies it's not really a board wipe in the hand. Didn't counter anything. There's stock up, so well, everything changed. We are at like we have to commit. This does seem like it's going to be the hardest matchup I can think of, just because they're going to be so removal heavy, and our protection doesn't really even answer board wipes. It only answers really like spot up removal, but most likely this is probably maybe a land grab, hoping they found a board wipe. Oh my gosh, just guy. Okay. What are we doing? We helixing here? Here. Now that we have Landware Elves here, we can always float the mana in response. Offspring. Now we have a copy guaranteed, and they can obviously helix this, but then we put 4 creatures into play. Either way, it doesn't actually matter if that's there or not. So now we have quite a bit of creatures, and spot removal is like not great for them. But this is about the time we get board wipes, you know? Just as we got kind of everything we wanted set up. I mean, 1 target, it just adds 4. We're on full spread out here. No overcommitting to any one creature. It just seems bad. Land. They're getting close. This also should go to show like how it's such a hard matchup, considering they hadn't even had the red the entire time. I mean, look at this. Like what we do here. Let's target this token. The other ones already have 2 power, so we don't want to target them in a spot of matchup like this. We're putting 3 power here to make a ton of sense for us. That's not a bad one. This guarantees counters everywhere, so I'm pretty okay with that. It also lets us lean into a play like Druid, play Landware Elf, get more creatures, you know. And now these have better toughness, so we should commit to like one of these. Also, why Get Lost can feel so devastating to play, considering, you know, we just buffed everything without them targeting anything. And now it's just an equal split of 4 on everything. Just going more for toughness, because a card that we're playing around is like the 1/1s they make, or like a Biza they have. But here, this is where we for 6, 10, 12. They can remove whatever. They can only have so many more Get Lost, right? 1 short of lethal. If they target anything with anything other than a helix, it's like inevitable defeat. They gain 3. I think they actually lose for this. I could be wrong, because we get 1 more power than life they gain. I say, did they lose for this? So I don't know, maybe not. They put them to 2, so I'm not sure. They were at what, 12, so they go to 15, so we go to 4, well, 6, 10, 13. So yeah, they end up at 2. Right, yeah, that works. Yep. Cool. Oh, going first here is pretty nice. We get the Landware Elves into Paul Patch, and then maybe here. We just take so much damage, so hopefully we're not staring at just like mono red spot up removal that kind of staggers all these plays, but we'll see. Blue black. Okay, well this helps out quite a lot. And we're definitely offspringing in this matchup, that's for sure. Then I will hopefully maybe. All right, removal there makes me kind of want to play it a bit different. So I can go for Go for Innkeeper's Talent. They're gonna counter something. I know I could shock this in or whatever. Which I'm gonna, we're gonna put it on blue. We're gonna pay 2 life, and we're gonna activate here. Combat. Let's put it on here. It's probably worth. I have the spell, so it's definitely worth. If they want to flash in and then kite at me, maybe this is a counter spell. They're looking to get this, or they're just done. All right, cool. Yeah, well, where was the shot? Seems good. Although that seems tough. All right, odd deal, I guess. If I can go right in the Drunith. Oh yeah, it's a Vivi. I don't know why I saw Mako and was like, wow, interesting aggro deck. I thought it was gonna be Mayhem, to be honest. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. Don't need to really shock. We're gonna play this. Then we can go for this and then this. And then shock and maybe do this. We had to play the starting town first. If we don't play starting town first, we run into a weird problem. Have another torch. That'd be sick. Be sick. I guess. Here. I guess honestly playing Paul Patch just for 1 here is probably best. Because it gives me 2 of them. I understand Offspring's really good, but I think right now Paul Patch is probably better than the Might, just because we have to play Might and then have this live somehow. Doesn't seem super likely. Here than here, I guess. Kind of the reason that Paul Patch is so good. Okay. That makes a little bit more sense, because I thought that Into the Flood Maul was like a weird play a bit. They attack. They do not. They hold up 1 blue mana. I mean, I'm jamming this, right? They're afraid to attack with that board. I'm just going to kind of stall for a second. Into the Flood Maul is basically a 2 of. Torch is like also a 2 of, I think, in most lists. I'm going to be honest. I haven't looked at any challenges or things with VV in it, just because I just feel like, quite honestly, it just doesn't matter to look at them. Or is it prowess, I guess? There's a cauldron in there, so they definitely found another one. Could cycle a card. You don't have a VV in there yet. Actually, there's no creatures anywhere, because you also torch the tower my creature. When it comes to this Mako, if I block, it's going to be with the token, so a cauldron couldn't, like, hit a creature later, I guess. Also, with Into the Flood Maul, you want the actual creature to get bounced back to your hand, not the token, of course. There's a cauldron, sure. There might be a creature somewhere. There's not, by the way. So let's do this. Cool, and hit play. Go with the Might here. Now let's go with the Beastmaster here. Now we got a big good compy going. And they have 1 card, so, you know. And obviously here, they can double block. But I don't think that living right now matters. You need a creature in their graveyard to turn on the Fear of Missing Outs, but that's not the type of deck we're against right now, so 3. Alright, get a draw, discard, put the VV in the yard, and explode. They don't have a ton of cards, so it has to be very specific. It basically would have to be... What it would have to be is it would have to be a draw that puts VV like right here. Yeah. So we should be safe. Be safe. There's like nothing in the world they can do here that gets them out now. With one blue, they bounce anything, it just doesn't quite matter because my board's too big. If they bounce, like, even if they bounce here, it doesn't matter because, again, they have 3 life left. These going to combat are going to trigger. We don't even have to put them on our tramplers. We can just spread it out and whatever if we want, but most likely we'll put it on our tramplers. Actually, yeah, it just adds power. Doesn't make their base power that, right? Oh boy, awesome. Our mana's good. Our cards are good, so we'll keep. Because we get to go Landwehr Elf into, honestly, is it Sirach or is it Paul Patch? You see a green. Seems like, okay, well, we knew what they drew, I think. Panicle sinking 2. I think going wide makes a lot of sense. Actually, this is going to be the weird time. I'm going to play a Beastbinder first. And the reason we're playing this is because it can shut cards like Tifa off. It takes all their abilities away. I'm going to control lose all abilities and then it's a 2-2, right? Sure. So we'll get to kind of show that off here, I think. We do need to find something good eventually, though. Doesn't matter. If I leave up mana, it's more likely there's a chance that actually this goes to 3, right? Because its base power becomes 2. Sure. Yeah, not a whole lot we can do about that. That was the only thing I was afraid of. Traveling Chocobo, play a fetch land. Yep. If you have everything, you have everything, bro. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do in situations like that. I had to cut the last game just because, I don't know. It became like the most boring game I think I've ever played. It was just life gain, and we had 3 copies of Beastbinder. Fortunately enough, I drew it, so I can just talk about it. I had 3 copies of this in play, just shutting off their life gainers. And then it was just literally top deck mode, where we both just stared at each other and did nothing for the rest of the time. It was crazy. So we're going to go ahead and gawk here. I'm just going to put more and more stuff out, I think. Obviously, we could have done it the opposite way, but it doesn't really matter. I wasn't attacking with the Landwehr Elf I had in play. Thankfully, both of my stuff is blue. Who are you copying this guy? You don't have to make X's 2. X could have been 1, and you would have got the same effect. Sure. Yeah. Sure. What an awful time. What an awful time. Right here, I guess. Obviously, by the awful time, I mean just like what a inconvenient time to draw that. End of turn. I'm gonna have to use the secret identity to do some nonsense here. Not great. Yeah, it's not great. Here. 3, 4. Well, he answered 1, But we're just dead to this, I think. Land, you say? We need one of these in play. Yeah, we just lose the mirror. That's fine. All right, so here we are. And unfortunately, I do not really enjoy playing this deck all that much. I think it is... like, it's so weird because when it's going well, it feels really good. But the thing is I can be like, oh, it's nuts, right? And if I would have played my games and just won and then called it a day, then sure, I can see how that opinion kind of forms. But to me, the amount of times that we basically went to top deck mode and relied on drawing one half of the thing, like I have 20 lands in the deck like this, which is typically on average where people are at. And you're just like, I hope I draw what I need. And it's just like, it seems like it never comes, right? And obviously, maybe my version of the deck build is not great. Maybe we're supposed to play the one drop like Spyglass Siren over this. I just wanted to play the Might, see if it was good in here. I played Spyglass Siren with like this type of stuff before, and it's good. But there was so many games I played where I just played out creatures and my opponent played out creatures and I lost because I didn't find this. Like I just didn't have it, so I just auto lost. Or I didn't have a curiosity to draw me cards, so I just auto lost. It was just a weird situation. Like this card in this deck feels like what Raise to Pass feels like in just a pure sack deck. Like if you have Raise to Pass, you typically win your matchups if you have any amount of surveilling going on. But if you don't have it, which Arena tends to throw it in your bottom 30 all 4 copies whenever you feel like you're doing well. At least that's how it feels. But I think I played 3 more games and I just lost them all going to top deck mode, drawing nothing for 3 turns, and then going, okay, I guess you got it, buddy. Because I just couldn't find this guy. I just had a lot of small to the ground creatures that just never got larger because I couldn't find this. So I had more Sirocs and Sentinels than I did this card today, or Enduring Curiosity, and they're both 2 ofs, and this is a 4 of and a 3 of. And I would argue I had more Siroc and Sentinels if you put them together than I did combining Enduring Curiosity and Oro, which is a bit tough. So, you know, the variance in Arena is sometimes pretty swingy, and I just unfortunately went well into really bad after it going really bad at the very beginning. So I think my record is pretty negative. I can actually tell you what it is, I think. I don't know. Using Untapped to say my record is typically all I use Untapped for, or to find like mythic decks. I don't really care about paying an Untapped or anything like that. It just seems a little whack. Oh yeah. Yeah, we went 4 and 7. This deck is bad. It's just like that thing where, and I can actually even break it down more so I can look at it here. Yeah, this is so bad. Oh, and I'll just show you. I think I can do that real quick. Yeah, so I lost 2, and I literally, after this match, I was like, dude, this deck feels really, really bad. I'm going to play one more game, and I'm going to see how it goes. And then we won, and then we won, and then we won again. And I was like, oh, cool, right? This is sweet. And then I won again. And then I just got steamrolled, and it wasn't close. Oh, and I want to show this. Here's actually a great example. I think, does this show the whole game? Where can I get to? So this is basically what the game looks like, I think. So we draw land. We're 20 lands, by the way. And the game ends with us drawing another land. And this is the rest of the game. And then I drew a legendary with that. So 20 land deck, we had all these lands. We had 3 of these in play against life gain. If we find any of our top end, we just win, but we couldn't. So that's kind of the problem I'm saying with this deck is you either draw the top end and win, or you don't draw it. You just sit there and do nothing. I don't know. It's pretty bad. So, I mean, it's good when it's working. It's bad when it's not, and it feels like here's my final like analysis. If you want to play a deck where you feel like if you're a very good player and you want to have the most amount of options and choices and you want your choices to matter, for example, I think blue black shows that a lot of times. Now blue black will just like play out its hand and win, but how you play like your tide binder and stuff matters. How you use your removal. If you hold up a counter spell, does it work? And like knowing what you're playing against a lot matters. This, I feel like it doesn't matter at all. I feel like most of the time your decisions are pretty straightforward. Like what 1-drop do you play? What 2-drop? Like if you have a Land War Elf, obviously it's Land War Elf. On turn 2, like you might only have one turn 2 play. And if it's Drunith, then like play Drunith, sure. And then if you have Beast Caller against matchup, it might matter in, then play it. But honestly, this card is like fine. I just don't really know if I enjoy it all that much in this type of deck. Then I would like a Flood Pits to like tuck things, making this more of like the blue black deck would be. But yeah, this card's good though. Like this card is very good. I think this here is good, obviously, in what it does. So I guess cards that I like a lot. Yeah, pretty much here. I like this build. Right here, over here. The rest of this, I'm not entirely sold on. I don't know if this really matters that much in this deck. We're not really doing enough to turn the might on that well. So this card felt like dead. This card was okay. The idea is to make this a bit bigger so it does a lot more counters, or like usually that's like removal. I'm not sure on that card either. I think we could probably just play different ones. This might wasn't that great. Innkeeper's Talent was fine. Innkeeper Talent is always that card is kind of fine. And then Beast, I didn't really like that much. Even when it was good, like obviously it was good, but I feel like there's just better cards than that. And then the rest of these, I don't know. This card I've just never been convinced on, because every time I play it, it's just like, all right, Day of Judgment, you got nothing. Nice, you know. And then Sentinel's just like Innkeeper's Talent. It's a solid card. It's a good filler piece. Not the most impressive, not the worst. Has Vigilance, can get large, and it's just good. You know, it makes maps for this. But this pile here, I think, is good. Over here, I think, could be maybe changed to be a little bit better. And not really having any removal in here is just awful, it feels like. So, with that, I hope you all enjoyed. Regardless, I know it's a very long outro, but I've played this deck a couple of times, and it's kind of been my opinion on it for a while, where I've felt like it's good, but not that great. But, yeah, it is what it is. So, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.